The fact that so many community groups and organizations survived the pandemic absolutely to this day amazes me. I remember that time really well. I remember where I was, what I was doing as a single employee of a new organization, not knowing where to turn and whether or not we were going to survive. For community organizations here in Simcoe Muskoka, delivering day-to-day frontline programs and services for vulnerable populations, life instantly became that much harder. Thankfully, the Government of Canada offered the Emergency Community Support Fund, which provided immediate funds to continue to deliver programs to those in need. For community organizations post-pandemic, there is still work to be done to fully recover from the pandemic.
One year without a festival. Next year, a virtual festival.
Last year was our first year we could get back into the garden, like as a community. But before that, we were just taking food across the street.
We were 5 people in the building. We had to record everything and couldn't come together.
You know, from then to now, it's been a while. It's been a journey. It's been a bit of a fight at times.
You know, the pandemic was either an event that stopped, that paralyzed an organization, or you could, like we've seen, it could be a catapulte. It could make you get out of your comfort zone and come out with new ways of doing things.
The government's commitment for the Community Services Recovery Fund is so important for community organizations to continue to deliver services and survive in today's environment to assist vulnerable populations. We were so happy that the government followed through on this commitment at a time where organizations need to change, adapt, and modernize how they're delivering services in this environment.
You can find programming money to deliver programs, but to be able to find money that will develop the infrastructure to be able to deliver programming in a completely different way, which in this case was often virtual, that kind of money didn't exist.
We just run it as an operation of Environment Network, and the community can come anytime.
So we cater to the urban Indigenous populace. So those are the people that have moved off res and are living in our area.
St. John's has been serving this community since 1819. In fact, that's often a tagline that we use.
Our goal is to make this culture live on. On veut que la culture perdure, la langue et la culture.
Of the $400 million for the Community Service Recovery Fund, we were able to attain almost $2 million for right here in Simcoe Muskoka. That has had a huge impact for community organizations in modernizing and adapting and having a future.
You got some organizations that were based around festivals where the festival shut down. The organization practically shut down. This fund actually saved some of those organizations. And this fund was really unique in that way because it was specifically designed to support organizations post-pandemic in creating the infrastructure they needed in order to continue operating.
One of the demographic features in Simcoe County where we are, the fastest growing populations are seniors and the fastest growing population are under 14. Both of those populations were significantly affected by the restrictions of the pandemic. The seniors, such as at the Eldon of Bradford, they were in their rooms for long periods of time. Children had to do classes at home, and children and seniors didn't always get together. And so we were hoping for the variety of mental health things that we create space and opportunities for those two growing groups to come together. There were a number of projects that we asked for funding. One was some benches around the church property. We are next to a retirement home, the Eldon of Bradford, which the church helped start. And many of the seniors who were institutionalized during COVID would walk around the church. And so we wanted to have places where they could sit and rest, but also walk safely because of the parking lots. So the benches, the sidewalks, a gazebo, a 20 by 20 large gazebo, as well as 9 community gardens, and then inside some purpose-built storage for the various groups that use the facility, and pickleball nets, badminton nets, and volleyball nets.
For the festival, the important part of the help we got from Centraide, United Ways, was for the e-commerce. So we've been able to put it into action. On l'a mis en œuvre l'an dernier, cette année. It's still it's complex. We're not professionals in that field, so it helped us tremendously because that's where the population is at. You know, during pandemic, everybody, even the elders, they learned how to order online, and they like it. So it's a big change for us, and we had to be there. So with this help, we were able to use e-commerce transactions. But it's, like I said, it's still a work in progress. It's complex, and we're still working on it. But it's a tremendous help for us.
Some of that funding went towards equipment for our staff. I know the mental health program, the addictions program, they both received a laptop and a subscription to Zoom, so they actually still use it today. The mental health worker upstairs is using it today, so it's still something that we use, and it definitely gave us a foot up. We were able to print our supplies and mail them out to clients if they didn't want to come in, or we'd make sure that they got it at the door. So that they have that supply with them, that booklet with them. I know for the first cohort of the life skills program that we used a bulk of the funding for, it was run online over Zoom, so you'd be talking the same way I would be to the camera, right? And the person on the receiving end would be following along in their book, well printed and that. So it did help, and things will never be the same, and that's okay. It's good. We've used that money and pushed ourselves further and forward, which is, I think, a good thing.
The CSRF and enabled us to hire, go back out and start hiring again. So we were able to hire a couple people, 2 part-time, 1 full-time, which was great. And it all was around food security. How can we get back into our community and start feeding people? We saw the rise in groceries. All of us were affected by it. Didn't matter your socioeconomic income. We all saw it happening. So we really needed to find a way to give back to the community through food. We had some community gardens. We didn't know what it was going to look like now that we could kind of gather and didn't have as many regulations around us. So we thought if we could bring a full-time community garden person, a food security person with a chef, we knew that the cooking took off. Everyone loves to cook and learn to cook and sit around and eat. That's like, it's so fun. And we had places to grow the food, so let's just put it all together and get the youth cooking, get them helping seniors to cook. Let's get back on Zoom. So that's kind of where the funding went.
It wasn't funding for programs for supports going out to people in the community, but for those organizations to use on themselves to build resiliency, to modernize their operations, and how they can continue to conduct business.
We've grown a lot over it. And I think going forward, it's just keeping that kind of progression.
I mean, the biggest need is always funding. That's our number one. We need to get more of our staff back.
With the pandemic, we lost touch with the elders, with many of the elders. We are still adjusting. What we're dealing with is an urgent need to sit down and think things over.
We've asked for feedback from these community organizations, and we've heard how thankful they are for this funding, as are we.
That whole feedback was amazing. No one has ever done that. No one has ever allowed us to tell them what we thought was great and what could be improved.
And we know that together with government, that we can ensure that everyone in our community is able to reach their full potential.